Okay, so today I'm going to be highlighting my 2003 Cadillac Deville. The model is DHS, which is kind of a highway. Oh, look at that! Somebody put a ding in my door. It's a highway sedan versus a DTS, well, which is also a highway, I guess, but a little sport. The DTS has a little stiffer suspension, for what I understand. It's supposed to be sportier, but it's Cadillac. So driving it, somehow that got scratched. I'm not sure if I did that or the parking lot somewhere. The car's not detailed, so bear with me. It's not perfectly spotless, but there is that little, you probably can't see it, there's a little ding right there that wasn't there before. Parking spaces in grocery store parking lots, very hazardous to your car. So since it's 2003, it was garaged most of its life. I'm the second owner. The first owner was a older woman. I mean, it's like 90 years old, 92 years old when it was sold to me. And she sold it because her husband had died, and then she had failing health. So she moved in with her son. They originally lived in Arizona, and that's where this car was purchased and owned originally. They kept it garaged. They just drove it to the store and back. I mean, they never really drove it. And, just around town and whatnot. Errands. And her son, when she moved in with her son, he was roughly my age, older guy too, we're all getting older, I guess. He did the transaction, with me, but it was in her name. And I guess she couldn't stand to look at the car anymore. He didn't drive it. It was just sitting there parked at his place. And she just didn't want to see it anymore because it reminded her of her dead husband. And so it was like a dead of winter. It was like December. Everybody's thinking about Christmas and whatnot. So that nobody came and even looked at the car. So I wasn't really looking for a car like this at all. I just thought, well, I don't know. I just thought I'd check it out because I know my son likes these cars. So I thought, let me go check it out. Just see what it's all about. And lo and behold, it's actually a pretty good car. It's actually a very good car. I had to do some stuff to it, though, because just, a car that's 2003 is, 20 years old? 21 years old, because it was probably purchased in 2002. Just sitting there, things will go. The water pump will go out if it just sits there. Just probably worse that it doesn't run. And so parts give out, seals give out, and so I had to replace a lot of that stuff. It eventually started leaking after I purchased it and started driving it, and the suspension went south on me. The struts lost their gas, and the rear is electric assist or electric air shocks. Real expensive system in the back. And I guess one of those pumps, the pump was working, but the airbag for the shock system, I don't know that. Really, I don't know a hell of a lot about that. One of them failed. But, when I drove the car around, I just thought it was, because everything was failing on the suspension, it was actually, the ride was really even more cushy. It had a little bounce to it, but I thought, wow, that's cool. I guess that's how Cadillacs are. And then I went over a bump and it bottomed out, and I thought, oh, you know what? I think there's a problem. So I brought it in. I got a good mechanic, and he looked at it. He said, yeah, they're out. And it cost a small fortune. I can't remember exactly, but it was not cheap to get the suspension changed out. And there was a couple of options on that, like for higher end shocks and whatnot, and I went ahead and did it. It wasn't a heck of a lot more, but You know, I just don't like to. I don't like to cheap out on stuff. So you can see the bumpers faded. I got some of the paint. You can buy it online, and I kind of sanded it down a little bit and painted it. But you know, out of a spray can, it's not going to work. It's just peeling again. So you know, if I was going to keep the car forever, I might paint it. You'll know why when I show you the inside. So here's a trunk. You know, it's one of those. I mean, it's dirty, and this is what that I consider dirty in this trunk. Look at it. I mean, could be vacuumed. There's a speck over there. This thing's pristine. You know, and underneath there's a spare. Of course, never been used. I think it's a small spare. Is it? I don't know. I don't want to take it out. So yeah, you could fit a lot of luggage in here, and then it's got that. What is that for? Golf clubs or skis or whatever? I don't know. I don't golf. You know, it's a cliche. Okay, so let me. No, locked. High security. So let me show you the back seat. The back seat, you know, it's leather inside, right? Here's the door. Look at it. It's perfect. Beautiful. Nobody ever sat in the back. I mean, I've had two people back there before. I had one person back there. Once or twice. I mean, I've only driven a car 1,000 miles. But, you know, nobody's ever sat back here, really. I mean, it's like new. It really is. I mean, it's amazing. Is that an ashtray? Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, and it's got climate control. Right there. So you can control the heat or the climate from right there. So it's got 2 zones, I guess. 3 zones, actually. There's a passenger zone. And I bought these seat covers. And again, I didn't cheap out. I think I paid well over $300 for them. Just the 2 fronts. But look at them. They're beautiful. I didn't get the, you know, headrest stuff. I never liked those anyway, you know, wrapping those. The leather is perfect up front. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, probably a 75, 80 pound, 90 pound woman sat in this seat and put 60,000 or 59,000 miles on the car. So, you know, this seat, and it was garage. So the seat is like unused, but I covered them anyway. You know, just to protect it, keep it from cracking. It's leather's old, and it doesn't have any cracks in it. I just thought it'd be a good idea to do that. I have a cover for this car, by the way, so it's usually covered. The reason it's not covered now is I'm doing a video. You can see the top is fading. See. Tinted. It's tinted. The windows are tinted. I don't know if you can tell, but they're not really dark, but they're tinted, you know, a little bit. So that's kind of cool. So getting inside here, let's see inside the car. Oh, I bought aftermarket. What do you call them? You know, where your feet go. I can't think this morning. Feet rugs. I bought feet rugs for it. So anyway, this is the inside. Mirror. Same on that side, you know. It has that North Star, I don't know, where you get in trouble, you can call them, but that doesn't work anymore, you know. None of that stuff works. There's the miles. My fingers are in the way again. They're always in the way of this video. I gotta get here, let me turn that off. Stupid thing. Alright. There's the miles. Ta-da! Look at that. Not even 63,000. I bought it with 59 something. Uh-oh, service engine soon. It's off. So the airbag light sometimes comes on, and then when it does, I have to go underneath the driver's seat and push up the yellow connector, which is the airbag electrical connector, because there's a sensor in the seat that tells the airbag system that somebody is sitting in that seat. And for some reason, occasionally, I don't know if it's the wire or I don't know what it is underneath there. I got to go underneath there and just kind of push the wire back up. It kind of falls down a little bit. I tuck it back up in there when it's hanging down. I should put a clip or try to. I guess I could zip tie it, but I don't know what I'm zip tying to down there unless I were to remove the seat, because you can't see up in there. And because the seat moves back and forth, I don't want to tie anything and then damage something. But occasionally the light will come on. It's happened 2 or 3 times. And because I noticed that wire hanging down, I pushed it back up and it goes away. It's done it I think it's done it twice. Yeah, maybe 3 times. And each time I just push it back up. One of these days maybe I'll be able to manage to get it up in there and it'll stay up in there. I'm not really sure why, but as soon as I push the wire up, the connector is connected, but as soon as I push it up, the light goes off. So it has something to do with the sensor. I'm guessing. I mean, you tell me. I mean, when I know that the electrical connector is related to the airbag because I Googled it and it says the connections, the terminal connector, the harness where it plugs in is yellow, and it's yellow. There's actually a couple of them down there, and one of them for some reason gets loose and hangs down a little bit, and when it does, the light comes on. So I guess that has to be tucked up, but it's only a wire connector. It doesn't make sense. I could see if it was like a sensor, the seat sensor itself, but maybe when I'm pushing it up, I'm pushing up on the sensor and I just don't know it. I don't know, but it's happened. I've had this car for 2.5 years, something like that. And it's happened 2 times, maybe 3, and each time I push it up, and it goes away. So I'm not about to pull the seat out. Imagine, it's a big job just for that little nuisance. I put a phone holder in for my phone. I put, what is it? I have this. Come on, God damn it! I probably shouldn't cuss because it's video. I caught it. That's why you don't do that. Okay, this thing works good. It looks cheap, but you put this in if you have an old cassette deck, you put this in, you charge this when it gets discharged. It lasts quite a while, and then you hit this little button here, and Bluetooth it comes on, and Bluetooth blinks, and you connect this to your phone, and then all the songs on your phone. Am I even pointing at that? I'm sorry. So it's this connector here. When you hook it up to your phone via Bluetooth, you can play all the music that you have on your phone, or I use YouTube Music, right through this system. And it's got a really good sound system. Some of them came with Bose systems, and I don't see where it says Bose anywhere, so I don't think this is the Bose system. But it doesn't matter. It's still really good. I thought I blew that speaker out because the music wasn't coming on one day, and I was driving and I was trying to fiddle with it, and I turned the volume all the way up, and I'm like, what's wrong with this dang thing? And it turned out it was just something on my phone I had to press, and I pressed it, and that thing came on full volume. It was like a nuclear explosion. I mean, the noise is like, bah! I turned it down right away, but I thought, oh my God, I blew the speakers out. But no, everything's working. And then, I mean, they had the placebo effect. I was listening to it thinking, I think I hear fuzziness. I think I did blow it up. So I even went online and looked for a new speaker. And then I thought, let me go back out and listen to it again without being in panic mode. And now it seems fine. But it was loud. It startled me. I almost jumped out of the seat. So I lucked out there because I probably should have blown the speakers up. Look at the interior. getting back to what I'm supposed to be showing you is the, instead of my stupidity, look at the interior of this car. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like it just rolled off the showroom floor. I mean, it smells like a new car inside. It smells better than a new car. A new car has a chemical smell. Floor mats. See? I'm not senile yet. Floor mats. I bought upgraded floor mats, and they, that's the closest color I could get. I like them. I have some cheaper ones that came with the car, and when I goes to the mechanic, I put those in. Man, I'm not about to bring these down to the mechanic. Those guys will have grease all over it, even though they try to protect it. They'll get grease all over this damn things, and they were expensive. But you could. I don't have good carpeting in my house, but I got great carpeting in here, and you go barefoot. It's like, oh, it's so plush. No, nothing like plush carpeting on your bare feet. So this car has all the. I think it's got just about every option. I mean, there may be one or two things that you could have gotten that is not on here. I think if I remember right, there is one or two extra little things. But I mean, I don't even use what's here. It's got some kind of talking thing that I don't know what that's for. I mean, it does kind of work, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem useful. I never drive it. I hardly ever drive. I'm going to drive it this morning, just like 5 miles, 10 miles. But, I just don't go anywhere with the car. I took it out of town a couple times back when I had a girlfriend. And we did that a couple times. It was kind of cool, especially in the summertime, because the climate control in here is phenomenal. I had to had the blender door system fixed. That was expensive. It's way up inside. They had to take all this stuff out to get to it because it was blowing warm air out of this vent with the AC on, because the door wouldn't close all the way. Why they put those blender doors where you can't get to them? Because it's the part that goes out. So let me show you. And then there's the mirror. That way you always know. You have a compass, so you always know which way you're going. Because I mean, I get lost easily. So that's kind of a good feature. I don't know what the Red Cross thing is. I'm not going to press it. Maybe an ambulance will show up or something. So let's get out. And I mean, the weather. Look at the weather stripping. No, that's nothing. It's just incredible. And those wheels will highly polished. Right now they're a little bit dirty, but the cars should be detailed. And I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm a little bit lazy, I guess. So I'm not. Look at that, the emblem, Cadillac. And here's the famous North Star. Now this one's got the longer bolts, the head bolts, because they had a problem with the earlier models that they pull out of the aluminum, the threads would, and when you got them hot and you'd blow the head gasket, and the engine would be, you have to take it all apart. It's very expensive, right? They were susceptible to that. It was actually a design flaw, engineering flaw, but they never copped to it. Cadillac themselves. But this one doesn't have that problem, and you can hear it idling. It's just, I haven't cleaned it, and that's about as dirty as I've seen it. I mean, it's got some dust here and there, but all you gotta do is wipe it down with a damp rag. I put a new belt, new water pump. There was a low oil sensor went out, so that's down at the bottom. That was replaced. It wasn't low on oil. Just the sensor was saying it was occasionally. Like when you went over a bump, then the sensor would act up sometimes. It did it a couple of times. So the mechanic couldn't get it to do it. And I said, well, is it very expensive? He said, a couple $100 or whatever. $150 to do the work and put it in. The part's cheap. So I said, well, just throw it in there, There's two of them. There's There's a oil pressure warning, and then there's a low oil sensor. The oil pressure sensor is a little more costly, I think, to replace. But it wasn't that, it was just saying it was low on oil. And the car doesn't use any oil. It had a small, the valve covers were leaking. So that's another thing I brought it in. They had to, take all this stuff off to, I didn't do the work. I don't want to do the work myself. They had to take all that off to replace the valve cover gaskets on both sides because, this is a V8. And that was a lot of work. And that's why it's dirty, really, honestly. It was a lot cleaner. That's all from the mechanic, guys. What you're seeing here, I guess, that's probably from the mechanic because it was way cleaner. And I haven't really driven it much after I got the valve cover, so you could smell the oil on the dripping on the exhaust. So that's why I brought it in. And then you need a special tool to take that pulley off when you do the water pump. And so my mechanic had to buy that tool. Of course, I had to pay for it. And it's an expensive tool. And even with the tool, he said it was really a bear to get that off. He'd never done one before. So I had him check all the hoses. He said the hoses were fine. So I like to do preventative maintenance. I don't want to wait for a hose to break, I don't want to be stranded. So like when I'm getting work done and they get access to things like that, I always say, if it looks suspect, just change it. I put a new tank in, the spillover tank for the cooling system, for the engine cooling system, because there's a sensor in there that tells you when the fluid is low in that tank and you can't remove it. And that sensor goes out. And then it tells you that your water's low and you get it gives you a digital reading on the instrument panel, and it's annoying. So, and the old tank was discolored looking. So I don't know, $50, $75. I bought that, and it's a very simple job, and I replaced that. And also, I flushed the system. Well, they flushed the system too. It's been flushed twice now because they did the water pump. But I had already flushed the system because the car, had been sitting a while. Even though it didn't look like it needed it, I just did it. And then, lo and behold, water pump leaks. And it's back in there and gets another. They didn't flush it that time. I think they just basically, they just changed it out. And then I had the AC. I thought I was going to just make things better. And I pumped some Freon into this thing. And then it didn't work so well. And so I brought it to the mechanic. He said, it's way overfilled. The gauge that I was using off the little can on the hose that you get at O'Reilly's, it was not reading properly. And so I pumped way too much in. So they ended up draining it back out and then, checking for leaks because I guess when you're working on it, you have to check for leaks. And then they topped it off. And that cost me a couple $100, all because of my, OCD. And they went ahead and did that and put it at the right level. And it's working like it was working before I started messing with it. It looks like there was look at it. Doesn't it look like that at some point there was some kind of leak? I don't know what that is. It could be the belt threw stuff out. I bet you that's what it is. And then right here, there's some other stuff, and that looks like it's right there. Yeah, So you're getting a good look at an unclean engine compartment. I mean, this car is 21 years old. I've done some other stuff to it here and there. You can tell it's garage because look at the tail lights. The plastic is still pretty clear. I mean, starting to go. Now that now I want to get new ones because I can see a little yellowing. I think the yellowing is since I've had it because I do keep it uncovered sometimes, or I did for a while before I bought the cover. So maybe I caused that yellowing. I don't know. Before it was really clear. It doesn't take long for plastic to yellow. You think they would come up with a better solution? You know, year after year they put out these cheap plastic covers on the lights. Lights, you know, something that's a safety issue, and they yellow. I mean, come on, you know. Hey, if you invent something that keeps them from yellowing, you'll be a gazillionaire overnight. So somebody get on it. I'll buy it from you. And then let's see. See, everything works. Everything works. And if it doesn't work, I get it fixed. So, but it's just, all the little things that could go wrong, I fixed them, or I had them fixed. And it's got, like, you could set for 2 different rides, 2 different drivers, you know, personal settings. It's, you know, here, the reason I'm rubbing everything is because I got OCD. So it needs to detail. I brought this down to get it detailed a while back. And then the kid comes up to me and goes, did somebody just detail it? He says, there's nothing to clean. And I said, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. It just doesn't get dirty. So, beautiful car. Anyway, I'm selling this one too, but I don't think oh, look at that, Dragonfly. Look at that. Look at that. Is that bad luck or good luck? Wow. Okay, let me close this. I mean, look at that, smooth, no weird noises. And and by the way, this thing picks up and goes. It's got quite a bit of power. I mean, you know, enough. I mean, it's not no race car or anything, but you know, it is what it is. I never considered myself a Cadillac owner, driver, but having one like a big sedan like this, you know, there's nothing like a big sedan. Honestly, I mean, you know, for all the environmentalists out there, you know, with your electric cars, you're not saving nothing. They're using fossil fuels to make the electricity that you pump into your car every night. So, you know, when you fix that, then we can talk. But, I mean, this is as American as it gets. It's a beautiful car. If you put a paint job on this thing, even without the paint job, you know, who cares? I mean, it's pure luxury. It's the most comfortable car I have ever driven or ridden in. It really is. I mean, I guess that could say, well, you've never been in some nice cars then. No, I guess I haven't. But, you know, sports cars are not the greatest riding. Trucks, you know, trucks aren't. Well, that truck actually is pretty comfortable. That one's not. That's another one. But this car, you just feel better when you're in a car like that. Anyway, there's my long, drawn-out video. I hope you like the car. I see a lot of them online on YouTube and stuff, and this is just another one, you know. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.